Okay, so this is me, Ethan. I'm recording this presentation because I will not be here. I have an internship, so this is my online recording presentation. So I'm just going to kind of go over the collapse of Bernie Madoff and kind of like just the timeline of it and kind of what led to that. So starting out, I'm just going to give you some background on how this all came to light. It basically started way back in the year 2000 when a financial analyst named Harry Markopolos figured out that Madoff's returns were mathematically impossible. And he ran the numbers and realized there was genuinely no trading strategy that could produce the numbers that Madoff claimed his company was making. So he went to the SEC and kind of submitted the report, and they didn't really do anything about it. And he did this 5 times over the course of 8 years, and every single time they were completely negligent and they did nothing about it, which is pretty frustrating. So the question behind that is, how does that happen? How does the SEC miss something that one analyst caught pretty quickly? And pretty much the answer to that is who Madoff was and kind of like his reputation. So basically, he was a former chairman of NASDAQ, so it holds a lot of authority, and he's a big figure of power within the stock industry. So people trusted him, and people are also scared of him because they didn't want to question his authority because he held a lot of power within the industry. So it'd be kind of almost not career suicide, but something similar to that to try and go against him. So it's kind of interesting because the same thing that made investors attracted to him, wanted to invest at his firm, his former NASDAQ chairmanship is also the reason that he was able to get away with all these scams. Alright, so moving on to slide 2 is, what was actually kind of going on inside the firm. And yeah, so the investment advisory side, where all the client money was supposed to go, operated on basically this infamous 17th floor, which is like where all like the shady stuff was happening. Inside of there, there's very minimal staff, separate, isolated computers, kind of like servers and all that. It basically kept it totally isolated from the rest of the company, and it was really hard for random people to get it in and out. And because basically there's nothing actually happening at the firm, like he was never investing money. He just kind of pocketed it for himself and, just used it for whatever. And what kind of like led to this whole collapse and him being exposed was the 2008 financial crisis, because everyone was panicking and they wanted their money back. So they start trying to withdraw money and get money back from the company. And he received I think it was around $7 billion in withdrawal requests all at the same time. And obviously, since he's been faking his numbers the entire time, he didn't have any of this money. So the whole thing kind of unraveled really, really quickly and rapidly. And yeah, so the damage was really big. $17 billion in estimated money lost by investors, over 40,000 victims affected, and Bernie was ultimately sentenced for 150 years in prison. So it's a lot of stuff. Also, it wasn't just him that got in trouble. J.P. Morgan, which is his primary bank, ignored a bunch of red flags about him, and had like his financial transactions, and they ended up having to pay about $2.6 billion in settlements because of it. So the takeaway here isn't just the fact that Madoff was a criminal, but it's the fact that he was able to abuse this authority figure. He was able to manipulate his previous chairmanship at NASDAQ to kind of gain power and the trust of many people, which is ultimately kind of what was the most fascinating thing about this. Is as a system that was supposed to catch him, it failed because of the fact that he was able to use his authority figure as a way to make money.